Please like, subscribe to the notification bell, and we'll be all set. Hey, D. Samuel, hit that goddamn like button, man. And shout out to the UK. Speaking of the UK, last week I dropped a reaction video from Just Pearly Things along with Aunt Jenny. Shout out Aunt Jenny. And let me play you guys a clip.
And all she's doing is getting her information from the internet and from... She looks traumatized. Go and get counseling, girl, or something like that. She reminds me, and just going by the way she looks, and I don't care whether people hate me, she looks like a plain, bitter, feminist lesbian. Nothing about her says... She just looks like she's on one agenda, and that's the way she was going.
So, the woman that Aunt Jenny was talking about was a woman that Pearly had on the show previously. She was reacting to that woman's previous appearance on Just Pearly Things show. So I have that clip. Let's play it.
Yeah, no, I'll try and see you on Thursday and then get the... What do I do? What?
I think I've seen this before. I think it's like
Get your hand off.
I think it's like an experiment or something like that.
I'm not talking to you.
Social
I'm not
experiment.
talking to you. Get your hand off me.
Who was there?
Get your hand off
Who
me.
was there? Tell me who was there.
People are looking at us. People are looking at us. Will you get your hand off me? Stop that. People are looking at us. What's wrong with you?
Honestly, we're fine.
Grand, thanks. Okay, because someone will call the police if you carry on doing that to someone.
Okay.
Because if I don't, someone else will.
Okay. It's perfectly fine.
You don't have to put up with that, honey. Okay. Either way. Thank you.
My office is there. You're definitely quiet.
Yeah, I am.
Problems just coming up.
I'm grand, thanks. What do I do what? Do you ever listen to me?
Reverse the roles, I'm guessing.
You're crazy,
Fucking
man.
manic. I've been talking at you for the last 10 minutes and you haven't listened. You haven't gotten into fucking what I've been saying to you. Then you're fucking not even listening to me. That's what. Why do I push you like that? Because you won't fucking respond to me if any you won't listen to me. You think you're fucking old manly?
I was.
No, you can't be. No, you can't be. Don't try and fucking walk
Look, they're
away.
laughing. I saw two women laughing.
Don't try and fucking walk away from me. Stop it.
That's it. They're actually laughing. Wow.
What is fucking bullshit? What's wrong with you? There's nothing. Don't give me that shit, okay? Pathetic.
I remember seeing
You're
that
so
clip.
fucking pathetic.
I remember seeing that clip, but I didn't remember them laughing. Wow.
Right. As you saw, there were two
crazy
scenarios there. One with a man, one with a woman. What was the difference, and why was there a difference, do you think, with the way the public reacted?
I think it's actually quite sad. The difference is no one came to the man's aid. There was a part where a lady had, well, majority of the women in that scene were laughing, also alongside with the men as well.
Yeah, a couple of men were laughing too.
It's quite shameful to see that it's not taken seriously, although she was doing exactly the same thing in the reverse roles. No one came to his aid. No one thought it was anything serious. It was, yeah, I guess it's a pure example of what goes on in every day.
Do you think it's okay to hit? Do people generally think that society thinks it's okay for men to suffer from physical abuse from women?
Yeah, I believe so. I feel like people feel like...
Talking to the mic?
Sorry, I feel like people feel like it's not as deep as if a woman was to hit a man. You know what I mean?
I think you're gonna have to run that part again. What do you mean?
What do I mean?
Yeah.
Do you think society thinks it's okay for men to go through physical abuse? Because we saw there.
It's justified. I think the way it's seen is if a woman does it, it's not seen as heavier.
That deep, yeah.
And it's put across like that because they are deemed as
the fairer sex.
And
they always ask, what did he do?
Yes.
To deserve it?
Yeah.
Right.
There's no questions asked on the other way around.
Yeah,
you deserve better than that,
Yeah, like if a girl's going crazy, it's always like, what did he do? What do girls always say? What did he do to make her
do?
crazy?
Oh, I hate that.
No, you're just crazy. Like, I don't.
And one of the
that's absolutely something I hate. Women say that shit a lot. Well, what did he do to make her do that? She's an adult. She's responsible for her own actions. No one can make you do anything unless they have a gun on you.
And from there, I think was quite interesting is that the guy came and said, "Oh yeah, you deserve better than that. You don't have to take that." But no one said that to the man.
No, not at all.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, what, does a man have to take it?
I think it's what's put out there. A man has to take it. I think it's seen as now, if a woman does anything of that nature, we are automatically by default expected to accept that. Because at the end of the day, if we don't, you know, there's going to be tons of other people with the similar kind of traits. And it's not going to get any better. So we have to kind of be content with the kind of treatment we're receiving and just hope for it to improve. You understand? And that just depends on the kind of guy you are. Moral coding. And I guess it's what was pushed out there for the man to be weakened.
Right.
To accept it. I
don't think it's weakened.
Yeah, I think it is for a man to be weakened, because at the end of the day, I don't think anybody should be hitting anybody. I think violence is violence. At the end of the day, I've had this conversation with a few people. You know, say, "Oh yeah, the girl's weaker. She's not as built as you. A man is built with muscle." Then I say, "Okay, let's put a gun into the equation." I know that's a bit extreme, but if someone picks up a trigger, you know, a female picks up a gun, a guy picks up the gun, they both pull the trigger, does the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you go up to Dwayne The Rock Johnson and you punch him, no one's going to be mad, or no one's going to feel bad for you when you get punched back.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be punching him, but yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like girls, like if the argument is that the girls are weaker, like then you could say the thing. If a weaker man goes up to a stronger man and hits him, do we feel bad when he gets hit back? No, but
absolutely not.
It's kind of weird because
I guess it would be seen as bullying then in that aspect.
What do you mean? So like
because someone your own size, if you're saying a weaker man.
Yeah, but I'm saying if the weaker man picks a fight with the bigger man and then the bigger man hits back, nobody feels bad for the weaker man because he picked the fight. But for some reason with women, it's not the same. Like if a woman picks a fight with a man and it's hitting a man, but if she gets hit back, people...
Because in that scenario that we saw, if the man was to retaliate, during that time...
all hell would have broke loose.
Right.
It's a different ballgame.
Yeah, but the chances are if I was to punch you, and you punch me back, you're going to hurt me a lot more. I'm not justifying it, but that is truth. You know, you are the stronger sex. So I'm not saying that I don't go around punching men, and I wouldn't. But because as a woman, I know that if I did and he hit me, the chances are he's going to hurt me. Like the domestic violence statistics are...
I'm with you and I'm not with you. You have a point, but then at the end of the day, you spoke on the narrative of you're weaker because you're a woman.
Yeah, but that is biological, is it not?
We could take the same example with Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Like he's huge biologically, and so if a skinny man picks a fight with a big man and he punches back, nobody feels bad for the skinny guy.
Of course, but domestic violence over here, a woman's dying every 3 to 4 days.
I think it's everywhere.
Of course, but I'm talking about the UK, so I don't know what the opposing argument.
Most domestic violence is mutual, so both parties are hitting each other. But one-sided abuse is actually more common for men to be hit one-sided than women to be hit one-sided.
I've actually got some statistics for domestic violence when it comes to women and men. Against men specifically, because I've gone to the National Centre of Domestic Violence, right? And it actually says this: male victims. A finding was mirrored in an annual crime survey for England and Wales, which found a quarter of all domestic abuse crimes in 2018 to 2019 were committed against a male victim. In the same year, 16 men died at the hands of their partner or ex-partner, compared with 80 women. The crime survey stats also showed that 3.8% of men, which is equal to 786,000, were victims of domestic abuse in 2018-2019.
I'd be very interested in that video, except having a woman that was bigger than the man.
Right.
Do you think that was done typecast? Like, do you think that was done deliberately just to...
Probably.
No, I think they just got who they could to play the roles. But it would be interesting if you had a woman, say Ronda Rousey, right? Ronda Rousey bullying a smaller dude. You can't make the argument that if Ronda Rousey punched you, it wouldn't hurt.
No, of course, but how many...
She's trained.
How many women are built like that, though?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. But it'll be interesting to see how this logic lines up when you have a woman that's more physically imposing. Because I guess the idea with that video is that the man is obviously going to be the more physically dominant one.
Right.
So he can take more, and whenever he wants to, he can finish the situation. And so that's why it's more tolerated.
So would you say that is a misandrist type of view?
I think my view from the video is not even that. My view from the video is just the basic that it's a double standard when it comes to violence between men and women. If a man is putting his hands all over a woman, everybody will stop him, as they should, if it's just for no reason whatsoever. Men shouldn't go around hitting women, that goes without saying. But with women, as you can see, people were laughing. I didn't see one smile during the first event when he was pushing the woman. It's just the clear double standard.
No, I think it's just based on reality.
Okay.
Like the guy, like if he wants to beat her up, he could. Like it's not like she's physically stronger than him. It only changes if when you have a woman who's physically stronger than a man. I would like to see whether society holds that up in the same lens. Like would that be bullying? I don't know. Could you say the woman should sustain more, should be more patient because the guy is weaker than her, and this, that? Would they put the same responsibility on the woman to be the more mature, more patient kind of part of, that would be very interesting to me.
So before we was talking about misandry and what it means, do you think that the society has become more misandrist?
Yeah,
because misogyny is spoken about a lot, isn't it? Like we speak about misogyny, men are misogynists, and there's a lot of talk about misogyny when it comes to the whole feminist movement. But I can see that misandry is kind of taking more of a foothold now over misogyny. I can see women actually hating men and hating on men. Men are trash, men are dogs, men are this, men are that. Like, why are you smiling and laughing?
What do you expect? That it's a consequence of misogyny. That's where it comes from. If you take that out of the equation, then you won't get so. I don't think it's, as a woman, I know full well it wasn't ingrained in me to hate men, but as you grow up and you see them act a certain way, then you're gonna have an opinion of them. I wouldn't go swimming in Australia. Even if there was one shark attack, I wouldn't go near it because I know the consequences. But yet, as women, we're expected to still trust.
Hell of an analogy.
That hurt.
Okay.
Oh wow.
What do you?
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do I mean?
Like what you said. What do you see that men do? That's so bad.
Well, first of all, I said about the domestic violence, and then I think if you look at
well, women do it too.
No, of course, but men ain't dying at the same rates. So,
well, they can't.
Who's to say?
What do you mean? Who's to say?
I think everything that we see is what's given to us as facts.
Right.
We can't take that as gospel.
Do you know any men that have died from domestic violence?
Male suicide.
Statistics
is one of the biggest indicators of male suicide, relationship conflict or breakup. So maybe it's not being logged as domestic violence, but there is definitely abuse going the other way, and that's a significant part of
and more women hit men one-sided than men hit women one-sided.
I do struggle with this. Like on the websites that I've seen, women are arrested more for domestic violence than men, even though they suffer more. And on when in 2020, when 110 women died that year because of that, 50% of those deaths were overkill, which means that they killed them. They was brutally killing them long before.
That's 100 women. I mean, I'm not saying it like that's insignificant.
In the UK.
That's really not a lot.
1 every 3 days. You don't think that's
110 for the whole year?
So say for
the whole year?
Yeah, from the whole year. So from
365 days in a year
to now. So say at the
what percentage of deaths is that? That's got to be less than 1%.
Do you honestly think that a woman dying every 3 to 4 days is not a lot?
I don't think it's like a pressing, like if
what's
it's not
the UK's population?
Because it's not one of the number one ways people are dying here. So like if we're gonna talk about if that's the big issue, like then we should maybe put obesity.
Why is it always fat people when that alcohol is a drug and it's so normalized?
We could do alcoholism.
But why is the default always fat?
Why is the default always fat? It could be alcoholism too.
Because the stuff that's more people die. What Pearl's trying to say is more people die each year from self-inflicted things than something that's been inflicted on somebody else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense, but it doesn't excuse it. Do you see what I mean? So say when
I wouldn't excuse it. I don't believe anyone should.
It's just putting it into context. So if you take a number like a country with like 60 million people and try and make the case
that's wild.
Because you're trying to generalize something about men
But
and so if you're gonna make a generalization about men, I want to see, is this prevalent among men? Is this really common? And when you said 110, I'm like, well, okay, the UK is very populated. That doesn't sound like a lot of people. And when you put it into context,
but if you put it into context,
I don't think it's okay. I don't think it's
no,
right.
I'm not saying you do. But then if you put it into context, the same amount of women have died this year, right? So it's one every 3 to 4 days. So say from 2020, 2021, 2022, if you multiply 110. That's 330, yeah? That's close to a year. So out of 3 years, there was 1 year where a woman was dying every day.
What?
That's mad. When you put it like that, is that not mad?
That's not how that works.
I think it's okay, but if I
But that's
had
not
to
even how that
guess,
works.
If I had to guess, I would think car crashes and obesity would probably be higher.
But they're self-inflicted, so that's on them. I could walk down the street and be murdered by a man, and what did I do to deserve that?
Why does it have to be a man? You could be murdered.
But no, but I was talking about that statistic.
Wrong place, wrong time. It happens.
It's
a lot of
men or
people
women.
every day, unfortunately.
My point is, why would I make a generalization about men when it's not a huge percentage of people that are dying?
Oh, okay.
At the hands of men, like from domestic violence.
I think that's probably just a difference in opinion, because I think 1 every 3 to 4 days is what, 2 a week. I think that's wild.
I mean, you can manipulate statistics to make them sound like it's a lot more prevalent than it is. But when you look at how many people, if I Googled right now how many people are in the UK,
it's like 60 million.
Yeah, 60 million people in the UK.
But
110. That's not
110 out of 60
But then when
million.
you put it down to 1 to every 3 to 4 days, that doesn't. And like I said about 1 like a year, and that would have been just women. But this is what I'm saying.
Her making emphasis on the deaths every few days is irrelevant. Still the same number at the end of the year. It's an irrelevant point
But
she's
this is what I'm
stuck
saying. This is why, because there's a consequence for your actions. So as men, if you're going to enable other men and whatnot, then it's a repercussion.
How do men enable other men? We just saw in a clip where when people were when he was attacking a woman in public, people rushed to her defense.
Yes.
How was that enabling?
Exactly.
Well, the thing is, I understand that video. The video is terrible, but that's just one incident. You could film that tomorrow, and there could be a different reaction. Because I personally have seen 3 incidences of domestic violence with a woman being attacked, and I haven't seen any. I was the one that went to see them. It was me. So I know full well that happens. So I'm not shocked by that video at all, because I don't know what people expect.
There's more clips of that woman, and I'm going to react to those as well. Has an obvious disdain for men. She pretty much admitted to hating men in that clip. And also she said something in particular.
I know full well it weren't ingrained in me to hate men, but as you grow up and you see them act a certain way, then you're going to have an opinion of them. I wouldn't go swimming. I wouldn't go swimming in Australia. Even if there was 1 shark attack, I wouldn't go near it, because I know the consequences. But yet as women, we're expected to still trust.
So pretty much meaning if there's one known woman to be attacked by a man, that all men are terrible, obviously insane, and obviously an extreme. And she was stuck on the fact that 110 women, as she said, died in 2020 from men, which correlates to a death every 3 days. Bravo, lady, you're good at math. But she kept being stuck on that, like, no, a woman is killed every 3 days. But that's 100 women in a country of a population of 60 million. Like, what are we talking about here? Of course, no one should be harmed. No one should be killed. But the whole point of the original video is that no one should be harmed, whether they're a man or woman. And domestic violence is something that's strictly man hitting a woman. I don't know. I've actually seen DV up close between couples twice. And actually, both of those times I was in the service. One time I was with a good buddy of mine and his wife, and we all went out together. Them two, myself, and I think 2 other couples went out to like a strip club, because that was kind of what we did in that area at the time. And one of them got jealous, and they got into mutual combat where they were hitting each other. And I was shocked to see that. Then I had another buddy of mine, his wife assaulted him. And I was shocked by that. I would have never expected that from my friend. It was the first time I met his wife, hit him that day. In both those situations, that was something that I was taken back, because I didn't know that was going on. But lastly, one more thing is this particular lady, she kind of shows it in other clips, but she brought it up in this one as well, about that Pearly was mentioning didn't line up with the numbers that she's seen on the websites that she visited. And I think it's kind of clear, and Aunt Jenny actually called it in the other video that we reacted to. If this is a woman who's clearly living her life through the internet, there's nothing illegal about that, but that becomes a drain on you. And I'll say that from personal experience. Once Trayvon Martin was killed, I'm not sure, what was that, 2013 or 14? When once he was killed, that kind of opened my eyes up to a lot of things here in America. At one point, I kind of became obsessed or obsessive about finding out about all these police shootings. And not just Trayvon Martin, it was Tamir Rice, who was 12. That one really messed me up. Philando Castile, Sandra Bland, Walter Scott. And I just kind of became obsessive, following all this content, watching all the news stories, following up on everything about police shootings in America, especially with black people, but also with other people. It came to a point, man, where I just had to pull away. I feel like all that constantly looking at that stuff, looking at all the negative stuff on top of me drinking a bit too much at the time as well, just kind of was a drain on my mental health. So that's just my tip, man. I just wanted to come back and say that. Sometimes you have to unplug yourself from the internet, man, and go out and live your life. Because, hey, what the hell do I know? I'm just a pothead talking on YouTube. You guys let me know what you think after party in the comments. My name's Theodore Cooper, but you can
Call me bitch.
do better.
Excuse me, bitches?